It's an honour and a privilege to serve as president during the 100th year landmark of this association. The move from our first century to our second really does provide a significant transition for our profession. The job of city manager is becoming something different. Our first century ICMA members have helped to build modern cities, towns, communities that are really the envy of the full world. They've transformed the way people live in communities. It's not long that you can go back to 100 years ago where communities did not have electricity, did not have water, some of them. And we've moved from that in terms of providing pure water and electricity to highly integrated, complex organizational systems that people actually choose to call home. And this association can be tremendously proud of that legacy that you've helped create. As we know, there were 31 city managers working in the US in 1914. 8 of them decided to meet in Springfield, Ohio, and talk about building a profession of leaders for the new era. They foresaw the important role that local government would come to play in people's lives. The city managers who founded the ICMA grounded their work in the values of public service. And that value remains absolutely central to everything we do today. We will continue to ground our work in these principles for the next 100 years. All of us today have chosen this profession because we are committed to community building. Our future discussion is not about what we value, but it's actually about how do we bring that to life. The world we live in is very different from what was in 1914, or for that matter, 1939, 1964, 89, or into the 2000s. In ICMA's first century, the profession of city manager was essentially meant being the highest level of technical experts. Our jobs were to direct staff and manage the flow of activity. The expectations of city managers and staff in relation to council was pretty black and white. Set policy, administration, bring it to life. But the work or the environment that we work in today is really different. Now we spend most of our days jointly working with our councils, jointly working with our organizations, and jointly working with our community. Not only is the world rapidly growing more complex, the pace of change, as we all know, is increasing. It's a global world, it's a virtual world, and it's absolutely an immediate world. It was only 16 years ago that ICMA passed a resolution to encourage people to get on email. Now, just a few years later, electronic communication and social media are fundamental to the very nature of our communities and also of democratic action. Today, our conversations are predominantly virtual. This means that many more people can be involved in the decision-making process. This is one of the strong drivers in terms of why our expectations are changing. Municipal administrators are now facilitators or moderators of a community conversation. We offer our expertise to the discussion, but the decision-making process is ultimately out of our hands. We are no longer the de facto subject experts. The environment within our organizations has also changed. Our staff expect to be involved in the decisions that affect them. They want to understand why they come to work every day and not what they're expected to do. They want to make a difference, they believe they can make a difference, and they can absolutely make a difference. This opens up new potential for innovation and creativity in our workforce. We know that when employees understand the bigger picture, they can make good choices and take on real accountability for our work. They are our ambassadors. They touch our public much more than we do. And they're a real connection to the community. So our job now is really around setting the tone for our organizations. We lead by the values we embody. We set norms and standards of behavior and expectation. We influence our culture, our corporate culture. Our job, at the end of the day, is actually to inspire. So what about the next 100 years? What will our role be, and what will ICMA be doing? Our leadership styles will evolve. Our skill set for the next century will more likely be based on our capacity to motivate, empower, and to tell stories. This actually will probably be more fun, more rewarding, and more interesting. And so it's a wonderful opportunity. While we have started down this road, there is still a lot of new territory to explore. And this is our call to action. We need to continue to evolve our toolkit as leaders, and that's where ICMA can play a critical role. First, leadership development will continue to remain central to ICMA. But during this 100th anniversary, we will be setting up a task force to review leadership and more formally aggregate the leadership support that ICMA can provide to all our members. Secondly, Life Well Run will continue to be central to what we do and who we are. It's about building our image and reputation and telling the story of our profession to the world. Our third focus will be continue to normalize the international component of our organisation, the ICMA. We will expand our focus beyond the borders of our towns and cities to a more global conversation. City county managers is an international occupation. For example, cities around the world are competing to attract talent and investment. It's a quality of life discussion. In the next 15 years, 136 cities that don't exist today will be built. Every single one of those will be in excess of 1 million people. Edmonton is currently listed in the top 600 communities. To remain where it is, in the next 20 years, it will have to jump 136 communities that will leverage every single advantage going. But that's okay, because at the end of the day, it's about building a sense of place, it's about community, and it's about people that choose to live in your community. So the game will continue to become more competitive. So that means competition is no longer limited within our state or our country. And there is no reasons why ideas and innovation should be limited to geographic boundaries either. I'm proud to be the 5th International President of ICMA, and I look forward to seeing the 6th International President of ICMA. I hope in the year ahead we can welcome new member countries and stimulate a new exchange or further exchange of perspectives that might challenge our notions of municipal government. I anticipate that we will become more multicultural, more international, and we will have a younger demographic. There are many future leaders of ICMA in this room who will represent our next generation. But 20 years from now, they will be the mentors for the next generation and the next generation after that. And that's why this organisation is so strong. As the world gets smaller, it's more important than it's ever been to strengthen our profession, to help our communities, our staff, and other orders of government to understand the significance of our contribution. 100 years from now, ICMA members will look back at us and see an era of transition as leaders, enablers, as facilitators, to a period of growth in the value of our profession. It continues to be a privilege to work for this order of government that is closest to the people that we serve. The values, ethics, and leadership that we bring to the table do make a difference to the quality of life for the citizens we serve. The prospects before us are exciting. I look forward to working with you as President over the next year, continuing to build our profession and our capacity as leaders, celebrating our shared past and focusing on our future. Your passion and commitment is recognized and applauded. Thank you.